Yasmin,
Hi, do you hear me?
I was just about to text you.
Oh,
I forgot to post the Facebook update that we're about to go live, so I was posting it. Do you want to turn on your camera?
um, yeah, it said I can't because the host stopped it.
A lot?
It says the host stopped it. I don't know.
Okay, try again.
Okay. Okay.
There we go. Okay, okay. We're just waiting on Nada and then we'll start the live stream. How are you guys doing?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. How are you?
Bored.
Yeah,
How's your brother?
he's really bored. It,
Yeah, yeah. Like if anyone is like would be going crazy, it would be your brother and your cousin. They're like the most
yeah.
extroverted people.
And they have to see each other like at
Yeah.
least once a week.
I'm just waiting on Nada.
How's Reem doing?
We're good, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Reem is like,
I haven't seen her in so long.
Reem is an extrovert too, so
Yeah.
she's going crazy. Oh, Nada's here.
Hi, it's Yasmin.
Yeah, hi Nada.
Hi, how are you?
Good, alhamdulillah. How are you?
Good, alhamdulillah. So I'm just going to mute myself for a little bit until we're ready, inshallah. Okay.
Have you been doing your classes online, Yasmin?
Yeah, I have, but they're not very effective.
No. I was about to say I'm going through the same thing too.
Yeah, it's tough. You know, because you have the choice not to listen at all. So.
Oh, I literally I log in and I take a nap.
Yeah. I don't think I would be able to do online classes like
Definitely not.
regularly.
Okay. I'm gonna I'm just gonna prepare the live stream. Nada, and let me know when you're ready, okay?
Sure, I'll let you know, inshallah. I'm just going to give everybody a few minutes to get in. Is that okay?
Okay.
All right.
Sure, that's fine. Oh, Yasmin, do you see the Q&A on the bottom so you can access it when the session starts? Hold on, your mic is muted.
Yeah, I
You
see.
see it? Okay. All right. So just like if if you guys are gonna answer something live, just make sure that you're answering it so like people know that this is the question you're answering it. You'll see the option come when people start asking questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Ready?
Yeah.
So, I don't see many people here yet. It's 7:05. Karima, do you want us to start now or do wait a few more minutes?
Yeah, you could start because we get a lot of views on the Facebook Live, so I'm about to post it when you start.
Okay, perfect. So, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I welcome you all today to today's webinar on mentally preparing for Ramadan with COVID-19. I ask Allah to protect us all, our families, our communities, and all mankind, and to heal our sick, and to make this Ramadan a blessed and beneficial Ramadan for us all. Ameen. My name is Samo. I'm a mental health clinician, and today we have Yasmin joining us. Yasmin is a member of BCIC Youth. Yasmin, would you like to briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Yasmin Mohammed. I'm a youth community leader at BCIC Youth.
MashaAllah. How old are you, Yasmin?
I am 19.
It's my pleasure to meet you as well. This is my first time. So Yasmin and I will be having some discussions pertaining to this topic and answering all your questions at the end of the session, inshallah. So I encourage everyone, I say this before every talk we have because sometimes there are Islamic questions that you ask that are very specific. So I encourage everyone who has a specific Islamic related question that we don't answer here today to reach out to your leaders and imams, inshallah. So just gonna put this on mute. So again, our topic here today is mentally preparing for Ramadan with COVID-19. So Ramadan is right around the corner. It's quickly approaching and it's less than a week away. This can be really exciting for some people, but it could also be really stressful and a struggle for others. Everyone around the world is adjusting or still searching for that new routine. This may add stress and anxiety with Ramadan approaching because we're trying to adjust, welcome Ramadan, grow spiritually, become closer to Allah, while trying to connect with our family and friends. You know, we may be worried at this time about the health of our family and friends. We may have or know someone who is sick or be sick ourselves. So this is could be a very challenging time for a lot of people. And it's a lot to juggle, especially because most of us haven't been in this position before. So, you know, it could be a very difficult time for someone. So if you know someone who's going through who's sick or going through trouble, try to connect with them and try to reach out to them. That's something that you can do in your preparation, your spiritually preparation for Ramadan. So the change in Ramadan routine that we've always known has changed. And we can expect it to change because we are not going to be able to pray tarawih or go to the masajid like we were before, or maybe get together with our friends for iftar. So we're going to have to change things around a little bit. And, you know, even though change isn't comfortable most of the time, I believe that we can find a new enjoyment in it, in this change, this Ramadan. And we just have to put effort into it and have hope that, inshallah, you know, we will find fulfillment in our new change. So we're going to talk about things that we can do to maximize the experience so that we have again, like a good and enjoyable Ramadan, inshallah. So Ramadan is generally just a very extremely special month to all believers. We usually, you know, I don't know about everyone else, but we wait all year for Ramadan, and we can't wait to, you know, have the gatherings, to go to the Tarawih, to, you know, be with our friends. And it's like just, you know, a day after day of a celebration. So many of us are imagining what Ramadan would be like this year and how, you know, we're going to be able to make the best out of it. And it comes with so many blessings. For example, this is the month that the Quran came down to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was the beginning of the revelation to him. It's a time for spiritual growth. It's an entire month of hope. And it really, you know, I don't think it could have come at a better time than now. Because we need it. We need it, and we need that little bit extra, you know, push of hope. So COVID-19, it doesn't really, I know that it's around us and it's surrounding us and it's in the news and everything, but it doesn't have to take away from our Ramadan or lessen our faith or diminish our spirits, because we're able, like, you know, we're not able to do the things that we used to do in the previous Ramadans. It doesn't have to make this Ramadan less important or special, but instead now it's more special and it's more important. Ramadan is a month of inspiring hope. Okay, it spiritually empowers us. It's gonna make us more resilient, and it helps us to prepare to deal with our different types of emotions that might come with the situation that's going on. Because we're dealing with a lot of self-control, that Ramadan teaches us, you know, how to have control over our nafs, over ourselves. And we're learning to be mentally strong, and we faced a lot of fear through this time and the situation, and we went through a lot of stress, and Ramadan will assist us in regaining that power and strengthening our souls. So some of the things we can do to prepare to bring us into Ramadan. Um, we would usually spend these last few days before Ramadan preparing, and we're being mindful of what we need physically, what we need to do mentally for ourselves, what we need to do spiritually for ourselves in order for us to enter Ramadan. And I encourage you to continue to do this at this time. So if this was your routine before, continue to do this at this time. So keeping that same routine you've had before that you enjoyed, or even, creating a new routine if you didn't have one, or because that routine maybe, doesn't work anymore, it can tremendously help you. So something that we can do to start is maybe, I know some people are practice fasting, these last few days, or they're setting their intentions. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm, going to enter Ramadan with. I know that, for some families, and including myself, I do like a home cleaning. So if that was your routine before, do that, still do that. People do their grocery shopping so that they don't have to make so many trips to the supermarket, once Ramadan comes, and just especially again with the situation that we're going through. So maybe do your Ramadan shopping, now, or, before Ramadan comes. Another important thing to do is list our goals for Ramadan. So to actually make a list would be a really good idea. So even if you didn't do this in the previous years, like, because, you kind of knew what you were doing, I was going to Taraweeh, we're going to have a thought, or, your families might already, like everybody, I know people grab dates and like invite other people over. So, you might just kind of go with the routine that Ramadan already had for us. But now, since that doesn't exist anymore, so making a list of goals or things that you're going to do, it would be a good idea. And also this helps you remember your goals. So when you're doing a list of it, it helps you remember the things that you want to do. Even if you don't meet them all, it's good to have like a list of things that you want to do. And then when you do actually do them, you can check them off, and it will give you a sense of satisfaction. So you can create your own goal list, a goal list with your friends, a family goal list. Be creative. So you can do this with anyone, or you can do it for yourself. As long as you just have kind of like an idea of what it is that you want to do. And this can be on your phone, like it can be, actually written out, hanging on your wall. It's up to you. It's whatever works for you. Things you can put on your list could be like, some activities that you can do with your friends is like maybe reading a juz'a a night, or maybe calling relatives, or saying, okay, we're going to maybe have a meeting where we're going to have a little halaqa, or a little some type of a spiritual connection with each other, or talk about what we're going through, or anything like this, to be able to connect with with your friends, or just to do something with someone. It helps. Coming up with family activities like memorizing a surah. You can have a goal for, when you set your goal for your family or your spouse or a sibling, you can come up with, goals like memorizing a surah, learning some nasheed for little kids, maybe hosting a virtual iftar with your family. My aunt came up with this idea. She said, let's have a virtual iftar one day. And I think it's amazing. So that's what we'll be doing, inshallah. We'll be having a virtual iftar together. Also donating money that you would have usually used on an iftar to the needy. So if you, that, I was going to, I have like maybe 3 iftars during Ramadan, or 6 iftars during Ramadan, I don't know. And I usually spend maybe like, I'm going to put a number out there, $300, making this iftar with the dessert and everything that I would spend on it. Instead of, taking that money that you would have usually spent on that iftar, taking that money and donating it to people in need could be a good idea, and it'll make you feel, it'll give you a sense of satisfaction. And when we help people, it does in turn help us feel better. You can make Ramadan food packages, have groceries delivered to those who in need, or somebody who, who might be sick or not able to go grocery shopping themselves. Have a FaceTime or Skype iftar cooking party. So this is another one. Make food together, like with another family, get all the ingredients. And again, this is my aunt's idea, but like this is something that families can do together. Have your kids join in, or you join in with your siblings, or have your, you know, parents join in, and just, you know, create a meal with another family, you know, virtually via Skype or whatever, you know, other methods you use. And this can really help you feel connected. And these activities, like generally any of these activities or anything that you will do together will, you know, are great ways for spiritual grounding. And they also serve as self-care for our mental health. Creating basic routines, I think generally, like going back to creating that routine, it's also one of the important points I have, that I just really can't stress enough how important this is, because it helps put everything in perspective. And you don't have to wake up wondering or figuring out, you know, what I'll be doing for today. Like, I don't have to get up every day and say, what am I going to do today? You're already going to have like a set routine. You're going to wake up, pray Fajr, maybe read Quran, take a nap, have, you know, suhoor, and, you know, because this is what we do during Ramadan. And, you know, just go on with your day, maybe read a surah, or maybe read a juz', or whatever it is that your routine is. So setting something up and having those goals in mind will really ground you for that day, and, or just generally during this month. So creating new activities, you can also create some new activities. Since we're not going to be in the masjid or doing our worship in congregation, we can still do things like write a khatira to share with our family. Like, it's a little speech, you know, writing a little speech that will, you know, bring everybody into remembering a lot. Like, so doing some research, it might, you know, take you listening to some online sessions, or, you know, thinking about how you feel and reflecting. So you can do that. You can write your own little, you know, thing to share with your family. You can write, you know, you can write your own khutbah even on Fridays, or have your children write a khutbah that they can share with the family, so that you can all, you know, pray together. That's you know, something that you can do. You can join maybe even a virtual halaqah yourself, or your children can join it with you. You can make iftar together as a family. You know, again, like host a virtual iftar, do things like decorate your home, bake cookies. So all these things you can do to, you know, these things that you can put on your lists that you can do during Ramadan and look forward to. So these things, you know, if you share these with your family, we can look forward to having that virtual iftar, or we can look forward to, you know, joining that halaqah during Ramadan, or starting to memorize, or, you know, having a little race or competition on, you know, who's going to finish that surah first, or who's going to memorize, you know, that hadith, or who's going to, you know, do that nasheed for us, or, you know, whatever it is that would create that like a festive feeling in the home. I recommend also you do things that, you know, you've always done before. So if before Ramadan you decorated your home, then do that again. During Ramadan you make cookies, do that again. I know that my mom, she used to always like prepare our clothes and things like that before Eid, and I plan to do that for my children as well, to keep on, you know, to keep that. And I do it for my kids, so I'm planning on doing it again, and not losing that routine that we once had just because our situation is changed. So anything you do to develop basically a strong sense of spirituality for yourself and the people around you is beneficial, inshallah. So one thing that I wanted to talk about, because I spoke already about like not being able to go to the masajid, but you know, a lot of times when we go to the masajid and we pray behind someone, or we're praying tarawih, and, you know, they're making a lot of dua. We hear a lot of dua between the salahs and during the salahs, and we're just, you know, our hands are up and we're just like, Ameen, Ameen, Ameen to every dua. And a lot of times we don't even know what's being said, because we may not understand everything. But we know it's good stuff, right? So, but we just keep on saying Ameen and Ameen to every dua. But right now, I feel like during this Ramadan, when I was, you know, thinking, we have a chance to take back control. We have a chance to make du'as that are, you know, you're from your personal self. So you get to ask Allah for whatever you want. You get to customize your du'a in your own sincere way. So that du'a is more meaningful because it comes from you. It comes from what your needs really are. So think about what it is that you want. Maybe even from now, make a list of things that you want to ask for example, in every salah that you make, or during Taraweeh, or create and write your own du'as. Like it doesn't have to be the typical du'a, but you can make it something that you're asking for. You're asking, and I think that this makes it more special. So start with praising Allah, calling him by his most beloved names, then asking for what you want. It's very simple, but this shifts your position in this Ramadan from being just somebody who's saying yes and Ameen ya Allah, Ameen, to every dua that's being made. Now it puts you it puts the power back in your hands, and it allows you to be the active dua maker, if you must say, and you just have to take advantage of it. And there's so much good that we can focus on when we look at things, just simple things like this, like just making dua, that personal dua that that you can ask for. So how can I help my family grow together and connect? I know that a lot of us wish that we weren't in this situation, and a lot of us we're like, well, what if we don't get together with our family? What can we do? I think that if we have that spiritual connection with our family, if we can do that, if we can have those talks at night, or the tarawih together, or doing dua together, and even iftar. A lot of times I know that people are working and things like that and couldn't have iftar together, but now they have more of a chance to connect. So if you really focus on and think about what do I want to help my family, how do I want to prepare my family to grow together and to connect together during this Ramadan, choose activities that will engage your family. So things that will interest everyone, or things that you're interested in, maybe share it with your family and see if they would enjoy doing that too. So there are other things that we can do. I know that there's wonderful lecture series that we can plan to listen to. So instead of maybe watching all these series, or all these I know Netflix has a lot, YouTube has a lot, but they have all these different shows that are coming out. Maybe we can listen to a lecture series. I know that your masajid do provide wonderful lecture series. Sheikh Omar Suleiman with Yaqeen Institute, he has wonderful things. Yasmin, have you heard of those?
Yeah, I've heard of them. They're really good. And there's an app that I also use, and it's 2-minute videos, so they're quick.
That's nice. What is it called?
I think it's the Yaqeen app.
Yeah, okay. And it's 2-minute videos about, what do they just have little.
Yeah, it's random and controversial topics and things and there's also very relevant topics to what's happening now.
Okay, so that's something definitely we could take advantage of. I know Sheikh Yasser also has a series, Sira series. Yasmin Mugahid has a great lecture. She has great lectures, I'm sorry, as well, just generally. They're very inspirational and informative. Have you heard anything by her?
Yeah, I have. And I also listen to podcasts. So throughout the day, I would just play them and do whatever I'm doing. And it's nice.
Yeah. Do you have any podcasts you would suggest?
Yeah, I usually listen to Yasmin Mugahid and the Sheikh Mufti Menk.
Yeah, and he has stories of the prophets
yeah, those are really good.
Yeah. Basically, the idea is really to just invest your time in learning something new this Ramadan, and don't allow it to pass without taking full advantage of it. Do you have anything you'd like to add, Yasmin?
Yeah, so I was just wondering, so sometimes, with uncertainty and anxiety, you kind of feel a lot, you're not motivated enough to get up and, complete these goals. But you mentioned the importance of having a routine and having goals. What do I do to become more motivated?
See, a lot of times setting a routine, when we do have a routine, we feel that our body remembers that those things that we do. So even on the days that we're struggling the most and we're having such a hard time getting out of bed, or it's okay for us to really to take a step back and not to, overdo it. We don't have to overdo it every single day, and we don't have to do it overdo it every single time. But if we're able to, push ourselves a little bit, or, if we're able to, get out of bed that day, like, so if not, then go ahead, stay in bed until you can. But there are times where we have to, push against that a little bit and really not let it overtake us. So, sticking, like I said again before, sticking to that routine. So if you're having trouble, like with depression, feeling a low mood, you can maybe try to connect with somebody who, can bring you out of that mood. Preferably like a family member or somebody with FaceTime, maybe somebody that lives with you. And if not, then a friend maybe on FaceTime, so that you can actually call, you can look at, you can talk to, you can, connect with. So that will help you maybe get out of your mood. Sometimes it really takes physically removing yourself from the bed to get up to do something that will, help get you out of that. And with anxiety, it's the same thing. With anxiety, it's more like everywhere. So to help you get out of that, maybe to talk to somebody who's calm or who can calm your mood. Listening to Quran that's maybe by a qari that's, or a reciter that's more slow, as opposed to somebody who reads quickly. So there are a lot of different things that you can do but those are just a few of them.
Okay. And we also have a question and answer. So if anyone has any questions, please put it in that box. And there's one question. So someone said that they are a convert and the holidays are usually lonely as it is now. There's no Taraweeh or gatherings, and it's going to be even more lonely now. So how do converts deal with this?
So I think that, like, again, I really want to emphasize the thing about Masajid having all these virtual halaqas, all these, live things that are going on. Participate in every possible one you can, because it really does make you feel connected. Even if you're, like I said before, the halaqas that you can have with your friends, for example, those, sharing something with people, feeling like you're contributing something, that will help you really get through your day. And especially during Ramadan, I think that this Ramadan is going to be very different from the other Ramadans, and not, to be honest, not in a bad way. I think that it really is going to give us, because everybody is really doing things in a different way, and we're preparing to do things in a different way. Like, when did you ever see all these things happening online? When was the last time we saw all these halaqas going on online? We really didn't have them. But now that everything has been, shifted online, everybody is kind of going through that same thing. Everybody's kind of feeling lonely. Everybody's kind of feeling like, I'm not going through the same thing, or I'm not going to have the same Ramadan experience. We can have that same Ramadan experience, and even a better Ramadan experience, because we have everything at the tip of our fingers. We have more time than before, more time to worship, more time to, to really listen to these lectures. A lot of people do have to work through Ramadan, do have to get up and go to school, maybe, the youth, they do get up and go to school, but now you can take advantage of not having to do those things, maybe staying up a little later for Taraweeh. Getting up in your home, waking up and staying in your home is a lot different than waking up and having to get dressed and going to school. So that, that time that, you'll have to actually get prepared to go to school or whatever, you can use that to maybe sleep in a little more, or to, prepare yourself for whatever it is that's going on through that day. But back to your question, I think that just connecting with people, not isolating yourself too much. It is a very lonely time, but inshallah that we, there are resources out there, and there will continue to be throughout this Ramadan. So take advantage of all of them.
And I think the next question would be a question that we all have probably thought of. And the question is, why do you think Allah is doing this? Why? And like, from your perspective and in general, how do we make sense of all of this?
So I've answered this question in every webinar that I've done, but can you repeat the end of the question, please?
Yeah, so why do you think this has happened? Why did Allah like do this? And how do we make sense of what's happening?
Okay. So what I believe is that everything that happens to a believer is good. Everything that happens to a believer is through the mercy of Allah. So if Allah, tests us with something that's a hardship on us, and we're patient and we do good, then Allah rewards us for it. Even like, for some shuyukh we're saying that, like, if a person even gets sick and dies, or a person is just even gets sick and is patient through it, or a person not even sick, just is patient through this trial, it's they have the reward of a martyr. So it's like, I don't know, but could there be anything bad about that? So I like, it's just so everything that a believer goes through is good. So if he's given something that's good and he thanks Allah, he's rewarded. And if he goes through a hardship and he is patient, and he makes it through it, he's also rewarded. So I think that, why does this happen is not as important as what am I getting out of it, or some things we don't know why they're happening and they just happen, but we have to understand that everything that happens to us is from the mercy of Allah, and it is good for the person who is believing. And I think that this puts us at ease in a way.
Yeah, I think so too. And so for those of us who have, let's say, like a sick family member, whether at home or in the hospital, or people that are socially isolating themselves, how do we focus on Ramadan and how do we make the most of it, even when we have to think of those that we love being, quarantined or sick or unhealthy in general?
Okay, so being I feel like there's two different questions, one about isolation and seclusion, and the other one is about being sick. And I think that, if we have, it is hard to deal knowing that we have family who's sick or who's not healthy or who's not going through things. And our and we might be worried and very afraid for them. But again, I go back to the question that was just asked before, like, about like, why is this happening to us? Like, we know that they either this is erasing their sins, taking away from their sins, or it's giving them reward. And their suffering might pain us, and that's very true, but we can do what we are able to do. So if we're able to maybe provide them with a meal, or to call them or FaceTime them, or even if we are worried, we can make dua for them. Dua does change destiny, and that's something that we have to have full faith in. And I think that helps us through all our hardships, not only this hardship and this struggle. With the isolation, I know that that's really hard. Like, this temporary seclusion that we're going through, like, no families, will have iftars together at their houses. It can be very sad for a lot of people. And but what this is going to allow us to experience Ramadan in a different way. And in isolation, it could be a big time of clarity for you. In your dua and your ibadah, it can help you focus more on that. So you'll be able to, make dua for, those, and like I said again before, like a more sincere dua, a more individual dua than, that you're actually thinking of, that's unique to you, that's unique to the people who around you, your family. And I think that's my answer on that. I hope it's a satisfying answer for you.
Yeah, that was really good. And we also have another question. When should one seek professional help with their hardships? And like, what are some resources, like maybe online therapy, that we can use?
Okay, so that's a really good question. When we know that we need help, when whatever it is that we're going through is getting in the way of our thinking, it's getting in the way of us doing our everyday things. And that could be a little bit hard to know right now, because nobody's really doing their everyday things, right? Nobody's really in their routine. But if it's like, if you're like depressed, like you said before, you're feeling so down that you can't get out of bed, and that's going on, for day 2 and day 3, and now I'm not able to move, or I'm stuck, or I can't eat, or then, it's definitely, or you think you just need help. That's, just thinking you need help is enough for you to seek that help. And it's important to, even if sometimes you don't think that you need help, but you are stuck and you feel like you can't, get up and move, then you do need to, probably reach out to someone. I have some contacts, some online contacts for, there are some counseling that happens online. There's some counseling that happens on Instagram. I can list them, inshallah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And also, how would I help other people in my household, such as like my children or my parents, my siblings, if I'm noticing that they're also mentally like stressed and anxious? How do I help them?
Well, a good way to be able to help family members is, again, like other than recognizing when, help is needed. So if you do feel somebody is like really down, or really, not able to come out of, what they're going through, then it may be a time to seek help, to seek professional help. But things that you can do when you see somebody struggling, or really communication does, and just listening to just, sometimes we have to stop talking because we have lots to say. Usually we have, voice to always give. But sometimes you really need to stop talking and just kind of listen, and really listen to what's being said, and listen with an open mind, I would say, because a lot of times we listen, but we're listening like, we're just like listening so that we can respond.
Mm-hmm.
So don't listen to respond, listen to actually understand. And that could be very helpful with family who might be struggling, or friends who might be struggling. And again, listening for things like, if somebody's talking about like I can't take this anymore, I don't want to, be alive anymore. Those are red flags to really, get help. So sometimes, somebody can say, I can't take this anymore, but you don't know what they're talking about. They can be talking, like, I just can't take, being in this bed anymore, or I can't take these clothes anymore, or whatever it is. So you just really have to get to the bottom of the talking, or to see what's going on. The communication being there, like I said, again, actively listening, communicating, maybe sharing a little bit about what you're going through, could really help someone.
And how do you think I should listen to my emotions? Like how do I know what I'm feeling and act accordingly towards what I'm feeling? Like, for example, if I'm feeling fearful or anxious, how do I deal with that? Should I just distract myself with my work, or should I just sit down and reflect? What's your advice on that?
Well, it's always good to be one with your feelings. So your feelings, like I said before, I said this, I'm sorry, in another lecture, but your feelings are never wrong. So you are entitled to your feelings. You're entitled to the way you feel. And it is okay to feel sad. It is okay to feel afraid. It is okay to be anxious. But it's not, I don't want you to dwell in those feelings. I want you to experience the feelings, experience them fully, okay? And pick yourself up out of them and move on. So, there has to be a time where it stops, and where we're not dwelling too much in whatever it is that we're feeling. So I am afraid, yes, the whole world is going through pretty much what I'm going through. They're probably afraid too. And, this is real, and I'm afraid of getting sick, or I'm afraid of this, or I'm afraid of that. I also know, like, this is where the connection, your spiritual connection also comes in, because I also know that when I pray and I make dua, that Allah is not going to, is not going to harm me, that everything is going to be, inshallah, okay at the end, that I'm going to make dua, that dua changes my destiny, and that Allah will answer my prayers and He will listen to my prayers. So having that faith, connected with your feelings. Yes, you're entitled to your feelings. You're entitled to be sad, but don't dwell in them. And, knowing when to seek professional help, knowing when you can make dua, and you can, seek, you can seek help through dua. But at the same time, I'm gonna get a little bit, off topic just for a minute. But, if we have a broken bone, or if we have something that's very wrong with us. You know, we have to know when to seek help. If we have a broken bone, will we just make dua that it gets better?
No,
No, what do we do?
we would have to go to the doctor.
Okay. And going to the doctor, what is that going to do for us?
He would help us heal.
Exactly. So he will help us figure out what's going on with us, right? It'll help us figure out what's going on so that we can address our issue and we can start to heal. So sometimes it does require that we, seek help, but at other times, our dua will be good enough. Sometimes we may need to get some extra help and reinforce it, of course, with dua, and that's how we'll be okay, inshallah.
Inshallah. And we also got a question. Can you please discuss a good Ramadan routine to do?
Okay, so I think a good Ramadan routine, we talked briefly about it, but I think that we have to think of personal growth, taking care of basically our mind, our body, and our soul, and thinking about learning something. So your routine is really it's not something that I would make up. It's something that you would make up, but it's something that you can do for yourself, where you would cover your mind, your body, and your soul. So learning something, have a goal, set a goal, a routine of learning something every day. Studying or researching something that you think you might be interested in. So not only not only reading the Quran, but maybe also on a daily basis, taking a moment of learning what you're reading, learning because a lot of us can read the Quran, but we might not know exactly what we're reading. So take a moment to learn what you're reading, or look up the story related to that surah or that ayah. Maybe do something that, that will help your body. Fasting in itself has so many benefits, and it helps us regain our health by ridding our bodies from like toxins and things like that. And it gives our digestive systems a break, but also maybe like eating healthy during this time. So like when you do break your fast, maybe not like having, I don't know, like the junk food or something, just having like, some dates or something healthy. And to take care of our soul is, you can do things like becoming closer to Allah through your worship. So all these things can, we can put this into a routine. Like I said, again, engaging with your family, getting connected, if that helps you, having, that into your routine. So you could maybe have like I said before, like wake up, have suhoor, pray, Salat al-Fajr, maybe go back to sleep or read some Quran, get up again, take a break. I think that it really is whatever your body calls for, or whatever you call for, whatever you need at the time. But to cover those three things, like I said, the mind, body, and soul, I think, you can have a lot of personal growth and development if you, do cover those three aspects in your routine.
Okay. Let me just check the chat. And I just had a question about like helping out. How do we maybe like help out in Ramadan with everything going on? Do you have any ideas of how we can do that?
Help out what? I'm sorry.
Like for example, how do we maybe we can like give food to the homeless, but how do we do that in a safe way? Are there any organizations that you would say are doing that, or where do we like give zakah, things like that?
So there are many there are many websites that you can go to see. Like I know that Islamic Relief has really good opportunities to give donations, and I know there's like Mercy Bakery. There's a lot of different places. You just have to do your research a little bit, to make sure that you're giving to reliable places. Your masajid are also great places to give donations.
Yeah.
So that can be something that you can do. You can also get together with friends or like not actually together, but you can have some food packages, that are like, maybe you can, hook up with a restaurant or a place, a grocery store. I know a lot of grocery stores are now even the Arabic ones are now delivering. So maybe, you can, put together some like food, baskets or packages and have them delivered to these families. Your donations, you see, the thing is what's so great now is that everything is pretty much on the internet. So if you have donations that you want to give, you can do it internet. A sadaqah is something also that could be anything. Like it could be like a phone call to your grandparent, or just connecting with a friend, or just saying something nice to someone. So it doesn't necessarily mean that, you have to leave your home to do any of these things. Everything is really, at the touch of your fingers. Like if if you do have the money to help out, and even if you don't, like I said, you can do it in different ways. It can just be a phone call to a friend or a family member that might be struggling, or even maybe not struggling, just to check up on them, and see how they're doing. What else? I think even like, a lot of the youth here have younger siblings. So even helping that younger sibling with some homework, or, giving advice, or even, like doing an activity with them, or helping a parent in the kitchen, or, anything like this all counts towards good deeds for you. So there's numerous things that we can do, that we might not be able to, go out and connect with the community and do all that, but there are so many things that we can do from where we are to connect.
Okay, thank you. If anyone else has any questions, please type them in the chat. And if not, I asked all of my questions. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
I'm just reading this. I got a question, but I don't know if it's a shared question. One second.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so some ways to battle depression that are not through salah. Okay. So I'm going to talk about this a little bit. So some ways to battle depression that are not through prayer. So we're asked to be finding, like, one way can be finding and establishing a support system. So you might need to find a support system through your community or through your family, and that can be, us as Muslims, we're taught to help one another, right? So that can, if we know that there's somebody who needs help, we can be there for them, and we should be there for them, and we should support one another no matter what it is that they're going through. So finding a sense of belonging for that person, and establishing healthy relationships within their family or their community can really help them manage whatever they're going through, whether it's grief, sadness, isolation, or feelings of depression. Another thing that I want to talk about that I don't think we talk about enough, but managing really what we consume, right? Whether it's through food, or whether it's through the news, or whether, or through bad news, like some people delivering bad news to us. Just monitoring what we consume really does affect us. So I know that some people, someone was saying to me one time, she said, every day I wake up and, I spend some time on my phone and I just have the worst day ever. And so I asked her, I said, what is it that you do when you get up? Like, what is it that you look at? What is it that you're reading? And she said, oh, usually the news, the world news, what's going on. Like, a lot of, this was around the time where things were happening overseas. Like they had like a lot of things in Syria going on. And she said, I watched the news and I said, that's pretty depressing. You know what I mean? So sometimes, it's what we consume that brings us down. So maybe, stopping, or controlling or limiting what we're exposed to. We can walk outdoors, or appreciate nature. I know that a lot of us can't go out now and go down to the shore or do whatever, but something that we can do maybe is just step outside of our house for a little bit, look at the sunlight, knowing that seeing life around you helps you remember that you're still alive. And sometimes that does elevate our mood, I'm sorry, and it improves it. And being in nature generally, like even if it's, I know a lot of people who are taking walks, which is, really good, or have backyards that they can spend time in. Walking outside or just being outside can really help, lower those depressive symptoms. And, trying to, like, again, when you do eat, trying to eat healthy, those things might help you, come out of that depressive mood. Of course, praying, and making, like, really concentrating when you pray. So making salat instead of, like, a 1, 2, 3 salat, a quick salat, maybe taking your time a little bit to read the words, to understand the words, to actually, when you make dua, to think of your dua, and to ask Allah to remove this from you. And, I definitely believe that will help you come out of that that mood as well. So all these things combined work together to pretty much, help you, come out of this. And maybe sometimes, sometimes when you have a daily routine, maybe you can do something creative that day, or put something in your mind that, set a goal for yourself, set a small goal for yourself that you can reach, that's not, overdoing it. So, maybe I'm going to bake a cake today, and I really know that I like baking cakes. So that's going to help me come out of that mood as well. And sometimes we just have to, like I said before, we just have to really, really physically remove ourselves from whatever it is that's bringing us down. So if I know I'm in bed, I can't, get myself out of bed. Sometimes it really helps to just really pick yourself up. I'm going to get up. I'm going to wash my face. I'm going to brush my teeth, and I'm going to, go sit on my couch, or I'm going to, go for a walk, or I'm going to stand outside, so those things can help. Inshallah, with the weather getting better as well, we'll be able to do those things more.
Yeah, I agree. And I think what works for me mostly is also any form of exercise and being in nature. That's like a really big thing that changes my mood. We also have a question. How can we stay positive during this time?
I think that, this goes back to having faith that Allah Azza wa Jal is, answering your prayers, that He's not abandoning you, that He, is there for you, that He's not, that things are eventually going to work out for you. I think this, like, it's like, we know that this is happening. We know that this is temporary. We know, inshallah, that we're going to come out of this. And, it's just a little bit of a timeout for us. So it's like, what does a kid do during timeout? You put a child in timeout. They spend some time thinking for themselves, thinking and, maybe reflecting on what they've done, thinking the options that they have. And then they come out of it, hopefully, doing better next time, like not repeating that same mistake. So I'm not saying that this is in the same situation, but like, this is kind of like, a timeout for us. We're taking a break. It's not the, this is not going to, inshallah, be our, our reality forever. We're going to come out of this. So that in itself is hopeful. Ramadan is coming around the corner. That's something that we're looking forward to. That's a goal that we're looking forward to. We're going to maximize, the good things that we're going to do. We're going to maximize our deeds. We're going to do good. That's something hopeful to look forward to. So, it's really what works for you. So these things that might not be hopeful to you, but it's really seeing the positive in every situation, or trying to see the positive in the situation. And that will bring us, that will make us more hopeful. I hope that answered the question.
I think that answered the question really well. I don't see any more questions. Do you have any questions that anyone sent you?
I don't, wait 1 second, I'm sorry. Okay, so somebody's talking about like the conflicts that they once had. Okay, that the conflicts that they once had, and on our time right now. So I think that COVID-19 really, put a lot of things into perspective. And I think that, this really did cause us to stop and think about, and reflect about how our lives have been going. And the conflicts, maybe we can reconsider the conflicts in our lives between maybe our family members or generally anybody we know. And it's important. You see, this is a really good question, because this is a time, to put everything behind us. It's a time of forgiveness. And I know that, even with us facing, the COVID-19 and being so worried, like, and thinking, a lot of people are thinking, okay, am I going to make it through this? Or am I going to get sick? Or how about if my family members don't? So it really is a time to really think, like, are my issues with that family member or with this person, are they really that major? Are they really that important that we are going to maybe not talk or not communicate? Or can I forgive them? Can I forgive them and can I move on? And it'll make me feel better about myself as well. So I think that, all these conflicts that we have, we really need to reconsider them, because this is the time, right now is the time to reconsider that. It is the time to forgive people. It is the time to ask for forgiveness if we've done somebody wrong. Because, not only would we be getting such a big reward for it, but it's because we don't know, what the future holds. We don't know, what's going to happen. So the answer, to that the question was, how do you deal with conflicts in your lives between your family members or generally anybody we know? I think it's to reconsider it and to, if you've done somebody wrong again, like, ask them for forgiveness. And if, somebody's asking you for forgiveness, to forgive them and to, repair that relationship. Let me see if there's anything else. I think that's it. I think that we've answered them all.
Yeah, I think so.
Somebody's asking, we're very busy here. Let's get to slow down. Okay, so they're asking about time. Time is, time is of the essence in Ramadan, because we know that Ramadan, it has a beginning and it has an end. And so it's very time sensitive. So we have to maximize our ibadat during this time. And, even like, we're going into Ramadan when we were talking about preparing for Ramadan, but even in preparing for Ramadan, we can think about ways that we can maximize our time. Like, here in New Jersey, for example, we're such a fast-paced place, and I hate it. So we're just like, moving really fast. Like, if I'm done with work, I have to come home, I have to cook, I have to do this, I have to do that. So you're always doing something, you're exhausted at the end of the night, and then it's time to go to bed and start the whole thing over the next day. But if we think about from now, if we think about how we can maximize that time, so we still might have work, we still might have to do our duties, but how can we maximize that time to get the best out of it? I think that's, really the question that we should be asking ourselves. We've come to 8 o'clock. Our session is.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Nada, for your uplifting advice and your beneficial words. And yeah, I definitely benefited a lot from this, and I'm sure everyone else did too.
That's my pleasure.
Thank you.
You're welcome. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. All right?
All right.
Okay.
I hope everyone stays safe. I hope everyone is well. Thank you. Masalam.